let's run through adding a trunk to this cute little Christmas tree. This has been made with the Rustic Flower Motif pattern. So we're using the square motif, and what we do with the square motif is we fold over the sides of the square like so, and then the bottom, and we seam along the back to get a triangle. But once we've done that, that's probably the easy bit, but the tricky bit is adding the trunk. Well, it can be, I mean, you can add it however you like, and wherever you like into the base of the tree. It's really up to you, but I'm going to show you how I've been adding the trunk. So at the reverse here, and like I said, it doesn't actually really matter which stitches you add this to, but I'm just going to give you an example here. So you can see that we have 4 stitches here that were separated by chain space, and if I turn that over, you'll see that there's some stitches before that, including this one just here. So that's really at the back of, so there's 4 stitches here and this stitch here, and the one that we're interested in is just at the back as opposed to the back there. But again, like I said, it doesn't actually matter terribly much where you add the stitches. It is a bit neater if you can mostly add the stitches to the back of the tree. And I've got, by the way, the tip facing down and the base facing up, and I am working on the right side as indicated in the pattern. So what I'm going to do is work single crochets where I've joined it, the yarn. Now I'm going to go 1 stitch along from that previous round, yeah, like so, and work another single crochet. Like I said, this is not an exact science, so you can add the stitches wherever you like. Now I'm going to use those 4 stitches there that I showed you earlier on. So 1, 2, to make, what we're really doing, I guess, is front post single crochet, but you could also single crochet depending on how you're working the stitches into the stitches from the various rounds. So I've worked those 4, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just going to make a 7th now. I'm going to rotate the tree slightly again, and I'm going to look for a stitch that's slightly behind. So what we're going to do here is use a stitch that sits behind here, so just this one here. And again, it doesn't massively matter how you go about doing this, but you basically want to work sort of between 5 to 7 single crochets that are in the middle of the base of the tree. So you want it to be, you know, pretty much symmetrical, approximately symmetrical. It's not going to be massively evident if it's fractionally off center. So now what we're going to do is turn the tree over and work a single crochet row back the other way. So I'm going to chain 1 and rotate my tree. I haven't sewn in these ends yet, but you can see where I've joined the tree. So working single crochet stitches in each of those stitches that we made previously. 3, 4, 5, 6, and just that last one, the 7th now, like so. Right, so what I'm going to do now is something a little bit different, just add a little bit more stability to the trunk. So I'm actually going to use half double crochet stitches, and I'm going to go reuse the stitches that we've worked in previously to make these, just to make it a little bit more solid and stable. So I've just done a chain 1 to commence, and I'm going to go back down into the same spot that the single crochets from the last row we worked. So reusing the single crochet from the first row that we worked. So through there and making a half double crochet like so, and then the next stitch along, reusing again the stitch from the first single crochet row like so. I'm just going to repeat that across the whole entire row. Like so. So you can see that that's made the trunk a little bit more stable and thicker. It's just a bit nicer visibly as well for the eye. So that's our tree completed, and we can add a cute little button, whether it's a star button or a flower button or some other kind of ornamental button onto that tree, and then you can make it into ornament with a hanging loop, or you can turn it into a garland if you make lots of them. They do actually whip up pretty quickly, so it's a really cute decorative item for your house, or a lovely gift as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and like I said though, there's no sort of fixed method or rules for making the trunk, and you can make it as narrow or wide as you like, but I just wanted to show you sort of, especially with the half double crochet stitches, the technique that I've used just to make that trunk look a little bit more stable. So I hope you've enjoyed the pattern. Thank you.